Hey folks, this is Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you with part two of how to make friends as a prepper, how to make prepper friends for SHTF, for TOTC, and everything in between. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel, the prepping channel for the 68%. Bunch of normies right in the middle, doing stuff and things like normal people, but we're also doing our best to be prepared for whatever may come, whatever that looks like. If you're one of my subscribers, welcome back to the channel. You guys know that I love you like, I don't know, what do I love you like? I love you like like that pair of jeans, the boot cut jeans that you have that are still in your closet. You know they're not in style, and they're not going to be back in style anytime soon. But you can't throw them away because they fit so well. You like the way they look, but you know you'll be ridiculed in public if you wear them. I love you guys like I love that pair of jeans that will never, ever see the light of day again. All right. So earlier in the week, over the weekend, I put out a video called How to Make Prepper Friends, where I presented kind of a threefold approach to meeting people and getting to the place of trust and loyalty a little bit faster. To summarize, my old approach was hold them at arm's distance until they prove themselves and then slowly, gradually begin to trust them. But I have found that that methodology backfired big time, where I spent a lot of hours with a group of guys, and it turns out they were all cowards and traitors. So it was a waste of my time. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of dating. So what I recommend to young couples is that they get the big stuff out of the way right up front. It's like when you first start dating somebody. Do you want to have kids? Yes or no? Oh, you don't want to have kids? I want to have kids. All right, peace out. Right, I'm gone. It's like that. Instead of being dating and then engaged to somebody for 5 or 6 years, only to find out that they never wanted kids, and you can't get those years back. Right? That's what it's kind of like. So my methodology now for getting to a place of understanding faster is to trust them fully and completely right off the bat. Assume the relationship. Just assume that you guys are close and good friends right from the start. Okay? Then start giving them tasks. Start asking things of them. Start requesting things of them, favors, and do those things in return. But rides to the airport, hey, help me move, like all of the big stuff that we usually wait to do, start doing those things right up front. Okay? And then lastly, begin to test them. Test them in areas of information, secrets, right? Things that maybe make you vulnerable, right? Things that you believe that are crazy and insane, right? You might want to mention reptilians early on in the relationship just to get a gauge. They'll be like, all right, dude, I'm never calling you again, right? Maybe test them with so information, maybe test them with money. That's a big one to test people in. Maybe test them with courage. Like sometimes this happens organically. It doesn't have to be like a test that you put them through, like some sort of trick or prank, right? But it behooves you to see how they react early to conflict or to stressful situations, right? Begin to test them in those areas as quickly as possible. And the whole goal is to get them from over here into this kind of this inner circle. This is the goal right inside here, right? But basically this methodology puts them right here right away, where before I would keep them way out here. Put them here right away, begin to test them, put them in the forge, put them in the crucible, put their feet to the fire so you can find out what you need to know faster. Okay? Now, the part two piece of this is kind of the methodology to start that process of getting friends. But what attributes should you be looking for? Like, how do you know they belong there? This is the way that we do it, but what are the things that we're looking for that demonstrate to you or to me that they are a worthy candidate? They belong inside of this inner circle of trust, or whatever you call it. I'm going to propose two things, two attributes. Now, the standard philosophy out there in the prepper YouTube sphere right now is that you want people with knowledge and skills. For example, you want somebody who has been a mechanic, right? They have that knowledge. They have the tools. They have the experience in doing mechanical things. You want a mechanic in your prepper group. You want a medical person. You want a medic. You want somebody with the knowledge and the skills and the experience to do medical things, right? You want that person. You want the tactical person, the tactical man or woman, right? The person, the operator who has weapons knowledge and, you know, they've been in combat and they know all the things and they've done all the things. They know tactics. And those are the primary two recommendations that I see all over YouTube. Like, you need to find people who have the skills, the knowledge, the skills, basically the KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities in these various areas. And those are the people you need to add to your group. You need to woo them, become friends with them, make them part of your mutual assistance group or your prepper crew, whatever you call it. I say yes to those things, but I think that those things are secondary behind the two things that I'm going to talk about. Okay. Skills and knowledge, yes, but somebody who has the skills, the knowledge, the skills and abilities in a certain area are completely useless to you if they don't have the two things that I'm going to talk about. Okay. So what are those two things? Drum roll. Courage and loyalty. I learned in COVID, this is a rare commodity. Okay. Courage is the rarest of all commodities. I forget who it was. It was some Christian philosopher. He said that all of the other virtues are made possible by courage. I think that's true. What I see today is such a lack of courage in men, a lack of courage in women. A man, I won't speak for women, I'll speak for a man can go through life a complete and total coward. And he can be comfortable and he can be well fed and he can be warm and he can be well paid. In fact, this world encourages cowardice. You know, and I'm not even picking on other people. And I'm a recovering coward. I was a coward in a lot of areas for a long time. And it was actually getting married. My wife is a very strong woman. Perfectly balances me out, right? She is the type of person who calls things when she sees them. She doesn't let you get away with it, right? Your spouse should help balance you out, and my wife has done that for me over the past 25 years. This is timely too. If she's watching this, we're on the back end of a fight, so that's just a coincidence, though. That's not what this is for. It just also happens to serve that purpose. If she's watching, I don't even know if she does, but courage. I was such a coward. I avoided conflict and I wrapped it in scripture and I wrapped it in logic and reason, and I was just scared, right? And there's nothing grosser than a man who is afraid. A man who is afraid to have a difficult conversation, a man who's difficult to say no, or who is scared to say no, a man who is incapable of conflict, managing it, running towards it, knowing what to do in it. There's nothing grosser than that. Okay, that's what's happening nowadays. Unfortunately, there's a lack of courage everywhere, everywhere. And I look at the prepper sphere, and people with all of the knowledge, all of the skills, all of the abilities, all the stuff and the things, who don't have the balls or the ovaries to act when it's required, are completely useless. We should not be looking for people with the KSAs first. We should be looking for people who have courage, because courage is something that's very difficult to teach. It's not impossible, but it is very difficult. So I'm a trainer. I train people for a living. I modify behavior based on knowledge, skills, and ability. And it is a whole lot easier to take someone who is courageous and teach them temperance and wisdom than it is to take a coward and teach them to be courageous. I'd rather start here, right? And I had years of an uphill battle to become more comfortable with conflict and more courageous, right? And I'm in a much, much better place than I was years and years ago. So I think courage is the number one attribute, the number one characteristic that we as preppers should be seeking. Courage is the thing that is going to care for us and carry us through hard times. All this other crap doesn't matter if a person is not willing to act. I'll throw men and women in there. I've met women who are more courageous than men. Courage is not necessarily, you might more traditionally think about it as men, but there are a lot of women out there whose ovaries match the testes. I mean, legit, right? And I've met some. So this is the number one thing we should be looking for. So that other thing, the testing, right? The tasks and the test, you want to see if that person is courageous, because that's not something that you can just hope they end up doing. And unfortunately, I talk a lot about COVID, but this is what I saw during COVID. Grown people who were unwilling or incapable of having a single difficult conversation with a teenager at the entrance of a grocery store because they didn't want to rock the boat. I don't know. All what I saw was fear. They were scared of being embarrassed. They were scared of the increase in heart rate. They were scared of the flushness the adrenaline, right? That fight or flight. This is what's missing. Courage is number one. Okay. Look for courage. Test courage. Look for situations where people can demonstrate courage, speaking up, right? Doing the thing that's required when the time comes. Because if you don't have courage in the small things, you're not going to have them in the big things. People think that they're going to rise to the occasion when the time comes. Well, if that happens, then I'm going to rise. No, you're not. No, you're not. You are not going to do that. You are going to fall back to your level of training. And if you can't have a difficult conversation with somebody face to face, when the risk is low, in these soft times, you think if you're not willing to argue with a customer service agent about whatever that is, you think you're going to rise up and participate in some sort of revolution. No, you're not. No, you're not. When those people come to your door and they start making demands, you're going to cave and you're going to comply. That's what's going to happen. Okay. As preppers, as we build our friendship and our circles and our group, courage is number one. You have to find people who are courageous. Okay. All right. Number two, loyalty. Loyalty. Start testing loyalty. I think courage and loyalty are the currency that are going to help us get through what is to come. Okay. People who are courageous, loyalty, can they keep and hold information? Can you tell them about things, sensitive information, right? Can you trust them with sensitive information? Can they ally with you? Can you build an alliance with people, right? And keep that secure, right? Can you do that? Can you trust them? Can you pinky swear? Can you do a blood oath or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right? Loyalty is also the thing. So will they choose you above all others, right? Is that a spoken agreement that you have? Are you willing to choose them above all others? Loyalty is the thing that's going to keep groups together. Loyalty, being extremely loyal to a person means putting them before others. That sounds exclusionary, and it kind of is. Think about a marriage, or when you get married and you say I do, what you're saying is I choose this person above all others, right? And entering into that circle relationship with other people kind of means the same thing. There's a level of dedication that I'm requiring of you, right? I'm saying I will take care of your family, and you are saying you will take care of my family. That's what we're saying to each other. Okay? Above others. First, before others, right? People who are courageous and people who are loyal to a fault. Makes me think of that one scene from The Town when Ben Affleck walks in. He goes, I need your help. He says, what do you say? You could never ask me about it. I can't tell you what it is. You could never ask me about it again, and we're going to hurt some people. And the guy goes, whose car are we taking? Right? That scene is like touted on especially on YouTube for the friendship goals, right? Like that's the level of courage and loyalty that I think is going to be required for success in hard times. And during hard times is probably not the right time to do this. I think you need to start building this ahead of time, right? This methodology it gets us there faster. And then how do we determine who makes it in, right? We trust them fully. We start asking things of them. We start putting the tasks on them, asking tasks of them. And then we start testing them in areas of information, in areas of courage and all. And then these are the attributes. This is the price of entry. This is the price of entry. I have to know that you're willing to have my back and I'm willing to have yours, okay? And that's the bond that we make. That's the agreement that we make. That's the spoken agreement that we make. That's the deal, okay? Then, because all that other stuff, all the knowledge and almost anything can be trained. I'm a trainer. Almost anything can be trained to people. I can train people in medical. I can train people in firearms. I can train people in fitness. I can train people. I can educate them on those things. You know what's harder to train? Much, much harder to train? It's courage and loyalty. I think we should be starting with these two things and then building on that. That's it. I don't want to get too fired up and make you guys nervous. This is some far edge 68% stuff. This is like leaning into the 32%, right? 69%. One guy in my comments was like, I'm part of the 69%. Maybe. All right. That's it. That's my part 2 on friendship. So I gave you guys a methodology to start making those friends. Now I've given you kind of a litmus test to see, okay, how do we vet these people? How do we vet them to see who makes it into my circle? And I think we should start here. This is Mike Tango Whiskey, and I'm all clear.